see if I can get this in one. If I could check out and move the hotel to a cruise ship, just without Ashley Tisdale forever, Mosby, however. Oh, tell me, bro, now wouldn't that be sweet? If it could be sweet. I know I've been a real bad twin. I didn't want to be cast away whatsoever. Brenda song can make it better. And tell me, bro, now wouldn't that be sweet? Sweet life, sweet life.
Oh my.
Woohoo!
What was that? What's going on?
A song parody not deserving of this movie.
Oh my. Did you write that?
Yeah, of course I wrote that.
Lucas bringing it out.
It's somewhat makes sense, but after watching this movie, I do question whether Brenda's song could make it better. Because this is a rare L, in my opinion, for Brenda's song. But of course, that could be the lead into none other episode than about the sweet life of Zach and Cody's movie, but also a lead into no other podcast than a whole new pod, the podcast all about Disney Channel original movies. I am your host and occasional parodist, Lucas Melby.
I'm Jacob Telejohn.
And yeah,
that might have been better than the movie.
It is undeserving of even the small amount of effort I put into writing that song parody.
And what was the parody of?
Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
Hopefully that came through well enough. It's a song I listened to recently, so it's well in my mind. Yeah, exactly. With Akon.
Yeah. Quick story about that song, about a 5-second story. In 8th grade, every...
probably around when the song came out.
Yeah, it was in 8th grade. Dustin and I, after school, we would go to golf practice, and we would hear that on the bus every single day. Sweet Escape, Gwen Stefani, and everybody would sing to it. And I remember that very well.
Great story.
Yeah.
Great story, great movie, great podcast. You're in for a good time, a great time. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think we might need to go on another month and a half hiatus because between this and Avalon High, we've
had an all-time low.
We've had a rough patch this stretch of movies.
And this is probably a movie that I don't know if it had hype, but it's definitely one of the more recognizable Disney,
Well,
franchises.
we haven't had a movie series one for a bit. I mean, I guess we had The Wizards of Waverly Place. I can't remember what year that came out in.
Yeah.
This came out in 2011. It's the first DCOM of that year.
Yeah, I mean...
it did have a bit of a dip in the ratings. It wasn't as big as... I think it was bigger than Avalon High, but not as big as Camp Rock 2, which was already a dip from the original Camp Rock. So DCOM's in a bit of a slump maybe right now. This podcast's in a bit of a slump.
But we do have a good one coming up after this one.
Or at least
maybe in
supposed to be.
Theoretically.
Lemonade Mouth picking up the slack. But at least something this movie had going in its favor. 80 minutes.
Yeah, it was
Lemonade Mouth
one.
Apparently almost 2 hours long. So got a lot to build up or meet expectations for making me watch that long of a goddamn movie.
For me, this one didn't really... It didn't drag as long as some of the other ones did.
I mean, quite literally, because it was 80 minutes long.
Yeah, it was short. There was... Yeah, we'll get to it.
It felt every single minute of this movie.
No.
So, Jacob, you are as close as we have to a resident Zach and Cody expert.
Yeah, you could say that.
So give us the rundown of the Zach and Codys.
Well, so Zach and Cody, like the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody was originally set in the hotel. The hotel was owned by the Tiptons, London Tipton's father.
I would guess a play on like the Hilton family.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Just like Paris Hilton, obviously. So this movie is about the after of the hotel when they moved to the ship that's also owned by
Do you remember
father.
how like that is really like broached? Because
I know, not really.
I've already joked with you that if they had, you were talking about like, I would have liked it if they just made like a Sweet Life of Zach and Cody movie where this is based on the Sweet Life on deck timeline.
I'm sure they had like a finale for the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
But I feel like there must not have been that great of like a break. It's such a weird phenomenon of being like, this is, instead of just being like, oh, this next season, it's like, no, it's, well, I guess the the hotel is such a major naming aspect of them, but then they still carry the sweet part into being on deck.
Yeah, Sweet Life on Deck, Sweet Life.
But I was joking that if they had made a Sweet Life movie, it would have just been the Sweet Life on Deck, because all of the Disney Channel series movies we get are always about the families or whoever going to a tropical location.
Yeah. And this is kind of the same thing.
It is slightly, them going to a different location, but they live on a ship. But almost all of the characters from the original series are there.
Yeah, the only people, like the main cast is obviously Ashley Tisdale's character.
As referenced in my parody song, not in.
No, she's not in this.
She's gone.
We get Mr.
Forever.
Mosby, and we get...
Gotta have Mr. Mosby.
We get Brenda Song's character,
London Tipton. Mr. Mosby, who we also saw that actor in Dadnap.
Yes, he's a very short man. Yeah, but
apparently.
The only people that are really missing are Ashley Tisdale's character and Arwen or Irwin, whatever it was, and he was like the maintenance guy. And I would say those two are probably in almost every episode. But
and it's my understanding that the ship is part of the Tipton family's cruise line.
Yeah, kind of.
But it also functions as a high school of sorts. And the movie, we'll learn, is taking place during spring break for the cruise line high school.
Oh, God.
So that is Zach and Cody in a nutshell. Yes. Importantly, because I asked this to Jacob twins right away,
whose parents aren't important.
Parents may or may not be dead.
Yeah, who knows?
We don't know. Jacob seems to think they're dead for some reason.
I feel like they were maybe in like one episode. I feel like they're like in Europe or something doing some studyings or I don't know, whatever it is. But I mean, it doesn't.
But as you maybe
they do reference their parents though in this movie.
As you'd maybe expect from movie or TV show twins, they are distinct characters.
Zach and Cody. Zach is like he's a prick. He's just like he's I don't know. He's supposed to be dumb.
And we figured out Zach was Dylan Sprouse and Cody
was Cole
Sprouse,
who is in Riverdale.
Yeah, the Cole has gone on to do more acting than Dylan, which is ironic because I feel like in this movie at least, maybe it's just because of his character. I think. No, Cody is the better. I don't know. It hurts my head thinking about it. I want to stop thinking about this movie as quick as possible. So let's get into the rundown.
Let's get right into it. Yeah, we're introduced to
Cody.
Cole Sprouse. Yep, Cole Sprouse is Cody.
He's walking around the ship in a way that I was like, wait, does he work on the ship?
Yeah, they were kind of setting up like maybe he was like a server because he's getting plates and he's putting like food and flowers and stuff on like a plate, but he does have a letter that he's carrying around with him,
and that is going to, at least at this point in the show, his girlfriend Bailey,
who is played by Debbie Ryan,
who is an original. I could just say a new character apparently to Sweet Life on Deck.
Yeah,
and
Debbie Ryan has her own show, I think, called Jessie. She's married now to Josh Dunn, the bandmate of 21 Pilots.
The bandmate of 21 Pilots.
The
band is Josh Dunn and 21 Pilots. While it's very presumptive of 21 Pilots to name their group after himself. And this movie came very close to the end of Sweet Life on Deck. So it wasn't quite series finale. I think this movie came out in March, and the final episode of Sweet Life on Deck was in like May of 2011.
Yeah.
And this very much feels like what I imagine a lot of the show was. It's just maybe with slightly, different cameras filming it. But all the writing, you could be generous to call them jokes in this, still feel like they'd be from a Disney Channel sitcom delivered like that, just without a laugh track. Sometimes not given the space like there would be a laugh track there. Sometimes there's still a space, and the silence is deafening because so many of these jokes are so bad.
And they rapid fire them too. Like, maybe they'll hopefully catch, one that kind of maybe
because it's as soon as Zach shows up, he sees Cody delivering this letter to like this I guess private dining area where he's maybe supposed to meet Bailey, but then Zach, that rapscallion, throws things into a tizzy while he's being a dick with his character Woody Fink.
Woody, who looks like Hurley from Lost.
Yes, he looks funnier, and his name is funnier than he actually is as a character.
So neither Bailey or Woody are in the hotel version of this.
And there's some shenanigans. There's talk about Zach wants the parents' car that Cody's getting, probably because he's the more responsible twin. Yeah,
it's like a red convertible.
It comes up that, or somehow Zach gets the letter from Cody, or somehow it falls overboard, but it doesn't actually fall into the water, but we think it does. It falls onto the deck.
Yeah.
Sweet life on deck.
The sweet deck, yes.
And that will come into play
later on.
What was the contents of this letter? We get a bit of an idea because then Bailey shows up.
It's like I wrote it in Greek or something. Or
Sanskrit?
Yes, I wrote it in Sanskrit.
Because he's a nerd. Get it?
It was a letter, and I told her that I...
But it's like, is Bailey a nerd? Does she read Sanskrit?
I
don't know. She's hardly a character in this movie.
No, I mean, outside of Zach and Cody, the characters are very minimal. The other characters are very minimal.
So Zach essentially tells Bailey what was in the letter, and it was that Cody's going to break up with her because he has a summer or a spring break internship. I think it's a spring break internship, which is crazy because that's like a week long.
and naturally she gets upset. She's like, "Oh, you're going to do this, to me through like a letter."
Via letter.
So she's, rightfully upset.
So she storms off, and Cody's like, well, that was what I was going to say, but it's so I could get an internship or get a scholarship so I can go to Yale, my dream school.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, man. And yeah, Zach is doing all of this because he wants a car.
Yeah, he's such like a dink. He's just very... I mean, I don't remember his character was like kind of dumb, but I don't remember him just being
he was like this all the time. I would find that show intolerable.
Yeah. It's really bad. Literally the whole movie.
It's like the Drake and Josh dynamic, except like Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, divorce what real life actions Drake Bell maybe did, but like Drake Bell would have to be like even more like sociopath.
and maybe they kind of ripped off that dynamic, or
was it more like what was Miranda Cosgrove's character's name in Drake and Josh?
Oh, Megan.
Megan was maybe more of the sociopath than that, but she's not one of the main characters. So
no.
Zach is just exhausting.
Yes.
Cody goes to his internship, which is at a dolphin preserve, and it's like a marine biology. Shoutouts to Seinfeld. Marine biologist internship, which I guess is as close as we're about to get in this movie for an exotic locale for them to go in this special movie. For some reason, Zach, Mr. Mosby, and London are all along to come to this location.
Yeah. And like Mr. Mosby, he's like always shadowing them too. It's really weird.
This is probably about 60 or 70% of Mr. Mosby we get in this movie occurs at this place that it makes no sense why he's even at.
Yeah, and kind of how we were talking about how, is just Mr. Mosby here because he is their guardian.
I don't even know if that's true.
Well, you got to think too, like it's his ship. Like, right? Like the ship, he's like the manager of it or whatever.
I guess.
So why is he off the ship and doing this shit?
It's because it's spring break. And you know what happens during spring break? Nobody takes cruise ships.
Yeah, it's weird. He's a very short man.
Very short. They meet Dr. Spaulding, who is going to head up this internship program. While that's happening, Zach sneaks away to hit on a hot lab tech.
Yes.
There's kind of intercuts between the two twins, so Zach's learning about...
We do see maybe a shady-looking
janitor.
They
What's
do kind of
allude
to him kind of...
You'll have to wait till the end of the movie.
That's right.
So Dr. Spaulding is researching communication between dolphins, and there's a weird little joke where he's talking to a dolphin at the kind of window or whatever, the glass aquarium he's seeing into where the dolphin is. And Cody says, oh, well, how close are you to him? And the doctor's like, oh, we're just friends. What have you heard? So dolphin sex joke in the Zach and Cody movie.
That was a little weird.
There's a couple other weird stuff in this. Zach gets into at the insistence of the lab tech, who thinks if he's Cody's twin, he must be as smart. Gets Zach into some kind of James Cameron diving little machine thing to go into the dolphin tank, which I don't know what the purpose, what were they going to be studying down there?
Yeah, the one lab tech convinces him to do it. So this is kind of like
dumb.
Yeah, she was asking him, are you as smart as your brother? And he's like, yes, actually, I'm smarter. And she's like, well, you know how to start this machine up? Can you go down in the water? You know, kind of, it's weird.
And Cody sees
setup.
him doing this, so he gets into there's 2 of these machines, so he gets into the other one. And I thought the CG effects they used for these machines was kind of decent. Jacob did not think so.
No.
But they have a bit of a fight underwater, and they hit one of the walls to the tank.
The seawall.
Yep. The doctor says, if that seawall goes, you'll be sucked out to sea.
And then Mr. Mosby's like, I see a wall. I do see the wall.
It's very funny.
Yes, so many jokes.
So the wall breaks, but they eject out so they don't get sucked to sea. And some of the dolphins swim away. None of that really matters. Basically, only one dolphin, I think the dolphin's name is Wally, sticks around.
Ollie.
And I guess he's relevant for part of the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Needless to say, Cody gets fired from the internship, and the twins are very mad at each other. Cody even goes so far as to say, I'll never forgive you.
Yeah.
I hate you. And the commercial line for sure was, we may be twins, but we're not brothers.
Oh my God.
But
Wow.
you're Zach and Cody.
You are Zach and Cody.
You're an item. People have to refer to you as Zach and Cody, never Cody and Zach.
That is true. Otherwise, it's
not on brand.
blasphemy.
Here in my notes is where I reference the mysterious janitor, who also seems to be in cahoots with the lab assistant that
Yes.
Zach was hitting on and encouraging to
They're chitting and
basically
they're
fuck
chatting.
up the internship.
Yeah.
Here's my question with all of this is,
Yes.
as you were bringing up, Mr. Mosby supposed to be managing the ship.
Correct.
The ship seems to be docked
Yes.
permanently at this location. Is that to allow Zach or Cody to go to this internship? Is it just having a land day?
So we do see it that it's here multiple days into the future. It's
Because
still here.
Dr. Spaulding is able to just walk onto the
Yes.
ship to come talk to them.
Or,
so it's not even just
who we think is Dr.
So it's not even that it's just docked there. It's that also people who aren't riding the ship or living on the ship, and this is the case for all of the principal cast of this movie.
Yeah.
They just get to go onto the ship, and it's like, what do they do? Are they trying to get like dysentery or whatever goes down on cruises?
Yeah, I don't know what the whole purpose of that
Whatever
was.
the case is, Dr. Spaulding, or is he,
Or is
comes
he?
and then recommends that, like, hey, Zach and Cody, I know I fired you from an internship, but I learned about this other internship that my friend Dr. Olson's running that's
Yes.
specifically for twins. And you guys are twins.
Yeah.
Twins! Remember those commercials? Like the football or beer commercials where they would just all of a sudden go like, twins! And there'd be like the hot
my.
twins walking out.
Oh.
Or the double mint twins.
I'll have to check those out.
The 90s to early 2000s, twins, you couldn't get sexier than twins, apparently.
Sexier.
But Cody doesn't want to do this internship because he hates Zach so much. But then the doctor's like, well, you could get an intern or a scholarship to Yale. And that convinces him to go through with it. So they take a small little seaplane to a non-tropical island, but still a bit of an exciting locale. It's not tropical because it seems like there's like pine trees and stuff around. So I don't know, maybe it's in like the Pacific Northwest or something.
I mean, or it was just, I don't know where it would have been filmed. I mean, it was obviously.
Did not seem like it would have been Utah.
No, not
because there's
this
water
one.
there.
Yeah, I mean, I was maybe the biggest fan of this movie's locations. Like I said, I really enjoyed like the rock climbing stuff, and I really enjoyed like the aquarium that they recorded and stuff at. They clearly, obviously, just weren't like.
Jacob
sets.
is extremely easy to impress.
I do. I like myself some good, sets in Disney
He's like, that's a
Channel
big
original movies.
ship.
Yeah. I mean, and like we were talking about, it was probably just like a cruise ship that Disney used.
Yeah. I mean, Disney is a giant corporation.
Yeah.
They can spend as little or as much on these little TV movies as they want.
It had a big pool. It had, it
Zach
had
and
a tennis
Cody.
court.
It had Zach and Cody.
Yeah, it had Zach
Had a
and
piano.
Cody. Yeah.
So they take this plane and they arrive at the Gemini Project.
The Gemini Project.
And meet Dr. Olson.
Yes.
It should be clear that while I'm not going to go into details in a lot of the jokes because it would have killed me, just know that all of these little events that are happening, there are constant horrible jokes occurring that made me want to die.
They literally are. They're like literally one after another, one after another, one after another, and they're all bad. Like there may be like two that I maybe kind of giggled at throughout the movie.
Yeah, I actually will probably call out some of the jokes I did like.
Yeah,
but few and far between.
It was rough.
It's about like a 1 to 99 ratio.
I think that's fair.
They meet Dr. Olson, who wants to study the conflict between them because they're very similar, being twins, but they hate each other, which seems so crazy. Yeah. And this is to better mankind or some shit with conflicts. Mild spoiler alert, Dr. Olson is evil. His plan didn't make necessarily sense for how he would benefit mankind. But I also don't really, as we'll get into it further, don't really know what his like end goal was anyways, as far as being an evil dude.
Yeah.
Zach and Cody are walking around, and there's all sorts of other twins there, and they're meeting them, and they see that all these other twins are super nice to each other, but we hate each other, and they get into like another fight. They're constantly fighting.
They're always fighting, and all the twins here are just loopy looking. They're like, you can never be mean to your twin. Your twin is everything to you.
But then Dr. Olson pops up and says, here, eat this weird fucking fruit.
And it looks kind of like orange peels,
it's
mango.
A horrible looking fake fruit.
What was it called? Named for that island.
Corsican fruit?
Yeah.
Jacob's like, what's that? I want some. Yummy, yummy.
Well, like when they eat it, they're like, look like they're jizzing in their pants. They're like really like, so
yeah,
good.
It's apparently, it's so good. And then they immediately that night
they do establish that it's so good because there's moments throughout this that he's just like eating it. So first we see London Tipton eating this, and it was used to feed the dolphins.
True.
So then now you see Zach's just like occasionally just eating bowls and bowls, but
it's not immediately clear that London was eating the same thing because it maybe looks kind of like a bell pepper, and it was mixed in with a bunch of like fish that were being fed to the dolphins. So then it was like, well, maybe she just ate. Yeah, but it's clear what happens.
Yes, because
it's a perfect movie.
Later in the movie, she describes something. She experiences something.
So yeah, then they immediately, or at least we, the audience, can tell that they're starting to share physical sensations between the two twins because that night they're sleeping in a bunk bed and Cody falls off, hits his arm on the floor, is like, ow, that hurt. And Zach's like, why did you hit me? My arm hurts. And they didn't hit each other, but we know, because we're smart audience
they're starting to feel
both of their injuries seem to be matching together.
And it's maybe because of this said fruit.
They're beginning to believe.
Do you believe in magic?
Oh, and I missed, I think, when they first arrived, before they ate the fruit, Zach gets hooked up to some experiment where Cody's basically just shocking the shit out of him.
Yeah, and it is... He does it over and over. So it's like a color test. He has to touch whatever color it is. But Cody doesn't give him enough time to react. So he's just constantly shocking him and shocking him.
He's acting like a psychopath.
Yes. And Zach's head starts to like fry. I don't know. It was pretty.
And going to
weird,
what Telejohn Jacob, as I would normally refer to you, Telejohn Jacob, was talking about with London eating that, as we learn now, fruit.
Corsica.
In a scene that mostly seemed like it didn't matter at all.
Like it was a throwaway scene, yeah.
Because they're like, well, we have to have the characters of Bailey, London, and Woody do something. So we just see them on some random boardwalk because the ship's docked and they're just walking around.
Yeah.
But in this scene, London is seeming to be able to understand what some crabs in a nearby tank are thinking, which I thought was maybe just like, I don't know, maybe she has weird character quirks like that in the show. But nope, it's actually... something up with this fruit, as we'll learn later on, because she thinks the crabs are going to escape, and then they do, but then they attack the kids. It's funny,
wild,
very funny. So now that we've set up that, I don't want to forget that shocking experiment because it comes back here. First, though, Dr. Olson confiscates their cell phones.
Yeah.
Immediate red flag, but he says it's for science reasons it would affect the machines. Okay, doctor. Before we get back to the zapping experiments, there are some twin shenanigans.
Yeah.
Zach and Cody are doing like a ropes course.
Yeah, I said I love the ropes course. There's other twins there. There's like a set of like 10-year-old twins.
I wouldn't normally think a ropes course would be the perfect test for like twin mind melding. But I guess the idea is like, if you're standing upright and your twin lays down, you have to lay down too. Because, like, that's the thing is, like, one of them starts to fall on the rope course, then the other one falls. And that's really... It's a very awkward way to present that, because the idea is that they're looking at this course, especially Cody, who's the non-athletic one, being like, this is impossible. And Zach is kind of also like, oh, this seems kind of crazy. But then they're just both flailing around, and you're not really picking up on why it is. They should have had him do some, like, I don't know, Ninja Warrior course or something.
Some of this is a little bit tougher to tell, but, like, there's clearly, like, points where they're just like, okay, this is what is happening. Okay, do you get it? Yes, this is what is happening. Are you picking it up on it?
This wasn't, though.
No,
On the ship, we see the immediate effects of Cody not having his phone, because he was actually about to call Bailey when it was confiscated, and Bailey is so pissed off that she dramatically deletes his phone number from her contacts, which is like, but he can still call you.
Yes.
So, not that big of a deal.
She didn't block him. She could have blocked him.
Maybe she just has his number memorized.
Maybe.
I don't have any numbers memorized anymore.
I have my own number memorized. That's it.
True. So they go back to the zapping experiment, but this time Cody's able to feel the effect of the zaps, so he isn't trying to destroy his brother's mind like he was before.
No.
Which I guess that was like the end goal of this experiment, is like, you'll definitely know that you guys are physically connected now.
Through physical pain.
So then, just like, they keep fighting. Boys fight more. I don't really get why Zach is like all of a sudden now like, now I need to leave because you're feeling the shocks that I'm feeling. Yeah. But he says he's going to leave. They start, they're insulting each other and they start to escalate. And then this is one of like the two maybe fun scenes in the movie where they start to fight each other physically, but they're injuring themselves to do it. So they're kind of like punching themselves
in the ribs, or like smashing their
falling down on the ground
against.
But then it kind of turns into annoying stuff where it's like, you're making me pick my nose. Oh, it's so unsanitary. I'm cracking my fingers in a way that you don't like.
You're annoyed by the sound.
And Zach's still like, fuck you, I'm getting ready to leave. Yes. But then one of the hot twin girls who, well, I guess we didn't establish that the lab assistant that was the hot lab assistant that got Zach is on this island, and she's got a twin, which is, that makes her even hotter, according to beer commercials.
Logic. Yeah.
So she convinces him by saying like, hey, I know you're mad at your twin. I used to hate my twin too. But then we had the merge.
The merge.
And Zach goes,
say the merge.
I'm liking the sound of that. And she's like, no, it's with you and your twin, not me. I'm like, another sex joke in this? What's going on, Disney Channel? Zach agrees to stay, and immediately Dr. Olson's, okay, now eat more of this fruit. This is phase 2.
Phase 2.
Back on the ship, Bailey gets Cody's letter that Mr. Mosby found. And learns that he was only breaking up with her to do the internship.
So now she feels guilty that she was rude to him. And it's like, oh, he just wanted to
Which
chase
I'm still
his dream.
like, was it just for spring break? Or was it going to be like a summer internship? Because if it's spring break, that's a week.
Yeah.
Get over yourselves, kids.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it had to have been summer. Because he's like, oh, if I want the job of my dreams, I can't have the woman of my dreams.
But if it was summer, then why was he there in the spring break time?
True.
This movie sucks.
Yeah, it's got a bad timing. It's just bad.
It's just bad. It's got bad. Period.
It's bad.
So then, after reading this, Bailey convinces London and Woody that they need to go and find Cody so that she can apologize to him because she doesn't have his number anymore.
Correct.
Whose fault is that? The second round of fruit that they've eaten led to a telepathic connection between Zach and Cody. That, again, slightly funny that they're thinking of memories and making the other one think of it, but then they're like accessing the hidden knowledge that twin had. So Cody's sad about his hamster that disappeared, and it was that Zach let him
So he starts to cry, but then Zach starts to cry, and he's like, why are you making fun of me? Why do you have to mock me? And he's like, I'm not. I'm feeling sympathy. I'm so sorry.
They become empathetic.
Now I know why I was so wrong for, keeping you from your dreams of going to college. I feel so bad. I feel so sympathetic.
They're starting to act like some of the other weird twins who are like a little too touchy and kind to each other. But they immediately overhear Dr. Olson, who's walking around with one of the lab assistant twins, and is saying like, Yes, my evil plan is going well. Wait till step 3, Zach and Cody, blah, blah, blah. Yes. And they're like, oh, shit, I think he's evil. Let's break into his office. I don't even remember what he said, but they're like, we gotta break into his office. And they go beep, boop, boop on his computer, and they find something that says, step 1 of fruit or whatever, that's physical connection. Step 2, that's emotional connection. Step 3, that's sexual connection. No, step 3 is actually the merge, which is they can become completely merged, think of Pacific Rim or whatever.
Not physically, though, right?
Physically. No, of course not physically.
Just hive mind, right?
And step 4 is hive mind.
So, it was
which is then shown on the screen that all the twins are, connected.
So, and that's what I was curious about. So, had all those other sets of twins, they've already gone through this entire process that these two are currently going through?
They've all eaten the fruit 3 times.
Okay. So
and then they've just been hanging around.
Yeah, just waiting for more twins to show up.
I don't know the significance of Zach and Cody.
They're twins.
And also some of, the timeline that, they reveal later on at the end of the movie.
See, what's also
doesn't really make sense either.
Well, what's also weird is this is gonna be flat. Oh, yeah, I'll have to talk about it at the end because this will be a spoiler.
So, as Cody is reading all this on the computer, Zach is chowing the hell down on more than 4 fruit. He's just eating fruit constantly.
He's eating the whole bowl. And this, while they're currently talking about, okay, we need to stop eating the fruit. He's like, oh my God, Zach, what are you doing? You're eating the fruit. You need to stop. And then they start repeating everything they say.
Zach repeats everything Cody says.
Yes.
Which I don't know if that really makes sense.
Well, they're starting to one mind. One mind.
But it's only a one-sided mind because Cody didn't eat any of them. Oh. It was only Zach. Repeating what Cody says. I don't know. Whatever the case is, Dr. Olson catches them. Meanwhile, Bailey goes to the dolphin preserve because I guess that's where they thought he was still interning at. But there's a funny little picture that says, no Zach and Cody's allowed. You're barred. And they talk to Dr. Spaulding, who's like, yeah, they're not allowed here. I don't know where they are. But for some reason, the dolphin knows where they are.
Because the dolphin talks to London.
But how does the dolphin know where they are?
Maybe they talked because the seawall's open, so they can talk to everything.
Maybe
through the grapevine.
Maybe there was a shot of when they landed in the seaplane. There was a dolphin nearby that I missed, and that's how he knew where they went.
They do set up stuff like that though.
But London, because she ate the fruit, and we learned that the fruit's original purpose was for dolphins and humans to be able to communicate.
Yes.
Somehow this dolphin knows where Zach and Cody is and tells London where they are. And then Dr. Spaulding's like, oh, you ate my fruit. But also, London spit out all of that fruit. When she found out it was fish food, as she says, because she thinks dolphins are fish. It's very funny. I'm not going to go into more. No, we aren't going to go into any more details.
Mammal. Did you say
camel?
2 humps.
So it looked like she would have had swallowed the fruit. But then we see her spit out literally all of it.
Yeah.
So how does she know?
She absorbed it through her pores. Yes.
This movie. Whatever the case, Dr. Spaulding's like, oh shit, I have some suspicions. I'm going to come along with you guys. This could be a matter of life and death for Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody.
But they're the main characters of this movie. Zach and Cody are tied up, I think. Somehow they escape Dr. Olson, though, because they're secretly telepathically talking to each other the whole time, and they get some plan. I don't know. They run away.
Yes.
But then Dr. Olson executes Order 66, aka Stage 4 Hive Mind, which shoots a green laser that mostly just looks like it's a machine gun or something at all of the cabins across camp, activating them all the twins to basically become zombies at his command. And he tells them, capture Zach and Cody. Yes. And they repeat that a lot.
Capture Zach and Cody. Capture Zach and Cody.
And Zach and Cody are on some raised pavilion in the quad, the main lawn of the camp, which apparently has a zip line attached to it. We've seen plenty of zip lines. They are always clearly away from the main building or whatever, which also has a giant underground lab.
Massive.
It's very cool.
It's like a silo, almost.
Zach makes fun of it for looking nerdy.
Ooh.
But the zip line's there conveniently, and they take it to across the lake where there is an abandoned sawmill, which was dropped earlier in the movie. And I immediately said to Jacob, how is the abandoned sawmill going to come into play? Because they would have just mentioned the abandoned sawmill without paying it off somehow.
True.
So they're just running around this sawmill that is functioning, actively functioning, even though it's abandoned. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But the twins have caught up with them because they have all canoed in boats or like swam across the lake to get to them. And they had this weird like video game segment where they need to dodge 2 cartoony looking CG saws. And then they get up and they're hiding behind some cut up trees. And actually kind of my favorite characters in the movie that we didn't mention are 2 twins that are either German or Scandinavian, but they're just like, German. Oh, yeah, we twins. Yes. We beat you in tennis. Oh. They're in a crane and they're trying to capture Zach and Cody.
Capture Zach and Cody.
And this
Capture Zach and Cody
has one of my favorite exchanges in the movie, followed by one of my least favorite exchanges in the movie. Cody says, oh, I'm going to die, so if you survive and I don't, tell Bailey I respect her as a woman. To which Zach says no, and then Cody just says, okay. Good stuff, great stuff. No notes there.
Thanks.
Then they climb up this weird metal contraption, and they're looking down at the lake.
It's really weird. It's like angled like they're not standing flat, but they are standing flat.
And the crane's coming behind them.
It looks pretty hokey.
And I think Cody says, or no, Zach says, I hope it's not as far down as it looks. To which Cody says, it looks like Middle Earth.
You must have loved that, huh?
I mean, I don't even know how. It's almost Big Bang Theory level of just like say nerdy thing for the nerdy character.
Yes.
Like nothing about that makes any sense at all.
I mean, it was said for you, Lucas.
It broke my mind. It is such a horrible joke. It's like, are they saying like, oh, it's water like Middle Earth? Or like they interpret that Middle Earth is like in the middle of our Earth? So that it's like lower down? Like, I don't know what they mean. I assume that whoever wrote it is not familiar with The Lord of the Rings. Which is why they were probably writing for Zack and Cody the movie.
Yes.
Or sorry, the Sweet Life movie. Zack and Cody aren't even in the title of this one. Oh. Actually, they're not technically in the title of The Sweet Life on Deck. It's just The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah.
So
that is true. They wrote them off.
They were a little less full of themselves.
They were too
as
big
they
of a
grew
name.
older. As children, they're like, no, put our fucking names, our fictionalized names in the titles.
Their parents fought for it. They needed it. Craig.
So they do jump down into the water, which is still not enough for them to escape because the twins just swim up and then are also in boats and they're captured. I still ask why. Why do they need Zack and Cody? The hive mind's already been activated. And it's already been established that some of the other twins hated each other before they merged. So it's not even really like Zack and Cody are that unique. Except that they're Zack and Cody.
Yeah, no, they're just another set of twins. You know, like you said, it's not like they needed them. It's not like they needed them to fulfill the prophecy, you know, or whatever. They were just another set of twins.
The prophecy of Zack and Cody. Bringing balance to the Force. So then they get hooked up to some machines where they're going to have to be forced into the merge. But then Bailey and crew, including Dr. Spaulding, somehow break in to the facility. And this is where we get an extremely stupid twist that I accidentally had spoiled because I was looking at this movie on IMDb and the only extra entries it had for like goofs and stuff, there was 2 goofs and there was no trivia. I don't even know if there was a quotes page.
And to me, that's kind of surprising. So, I mean, I feel like this still would have had like a decent
I don't know. Maybe all the trivia is just located on the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody page.
The fandom.
Whatever the case is, it's revealed that Dr. Spaulding and Dr. Olsen are related. Because twins. Dr. Olsen is secretly Dr. Spaulding's twin.
And he rips off his mask.
In a very Mission Impossible
At one point,
reveal.
He's like literally just ripping on his own face. It's a pretty goofy thing, but okay. So this is something I don't want to spoil.
So we get the Kaiser Soze dial back of like, this was all the times he was screwing with Zack and Cody.
Yes, so you get the flashbacks of him on the ship where he's playing the violin. You see him as the janitor. And then we also see him taking off his mask to meet them on the ship to pretend like he's his brother.
But that was when he was playing the violin.
No, well...
They at least cut it together where they make it seem like he was playing a violin
really early on,
just to spy on them.
And then he was by the
So then he just shows up as himself wearing a suit. But then when he was playing the violin, he didn't even need to wear a mask. And he also didn't need to take off the mask while on the ship, which he does.
Because he looks like him anyways.
Yeah, but they didn't know who he was necessarily, and they weren't paying attention to the violinist. But they probably would have if they saw a violinist take off a fucking mask on the ship. But the thing is when he's at the aquarium or whatever, we see him stealing a tree with 2 pieces of fruit on it.
Yeah, he's still
so he was at the aquarium working with the lab assistant, telling the lab assistant.
So did he get the seeds out of the fruit to go grow?
So I believe he should have only been there to fuck over Cody's internship so that he would come to his program for whatever reasons that he needs Zach and
That's
Cody
why that twin girl was there to convince Zach.
But then when it shows him getting the plant, it's like, well, he already should have had all of these twins at his facility eating the fruit. Yes. So why is he just getting 2 pieces of fruit? Where it seemed like they were trying to set up that like he stole the plant so that he could grow more fruit. But it's the timeline doesn't add up to make that work.
I agree.
Biggest surprise that Zach and Cody movie bad.
I wanted to say, though, so there was a part where the brother is the one sending Cody to this Gemini project thing.
Yeah, I think we said that somewhere in there.
So then the brother was also aware of who this guy was, who the name was. Because like when they mentioned his name, he's like, that's my brother, he's very bad. This is like before he takes the mask off, too. Like the good brother, like,
well, apparently, because there's the parallel that there's one smart brother and one jealous brother of the smart brother. So I guess maybe the smart brother just put the pieces together. While this is all happening, Zach and Cody are kind of disembodied from their bodies.
They literally leave their bodies in like a weird ghost.
Spectral mind ghost fight.
They're like blue floating figures.
And they're fighting because now that they aren't under the effects of the fruit, they're just defaulting back to hating each other. Yeah. But in this case, them hating each other saves the day because...
Yes, they needed that.
They destroy the machine that not only saves them from being mind melded, but then also breaks all the twins from their hive mind. So it's like, okay, what was his plan? What was he going for? World domination of just twins? I don't know. None of this makes sense. We didn't really quite get this from just this movie because this movie, unlike some of the other DCOM or Disney Channel movies we've watched based on the shows, tries not to really establish the characters at all. Like, if you don't know who these characters are, fuck you. You're watching the Zach and Cody movie.
Yeah.
Their name is not in the title, but it basically is in the title. Bailey, though, I guess is like a country girl because she lassos formerly Dr. Olson.
She might as well said yeehaw.
I think she maybe did say yeehaw.
Probably.
And then they force feed him a piece of the fruit so that his brother also eats the fruit.
Think good things about your brother.
And they share their memories. And it's like, wait, you were actually jealous of me? Aw, shit. I'm getting hard for you.
I'm getting...
So they make up. But then he's like, well, I'm going to prison. And that's clear because Mr. Mosby has shown up with the police. And it's maybe implied that Mr. Mosby actually took the ship here. It's not entirely clear because he says, oh, for once I actually had front row parking. And it's not like you could drive to this place. They had to take a plane. So I think he took the ship full of police to the Gemini project.
Okay.
And I don't even know when they told Mr. Mosby to do this, but it was off camera. But they were like, well, I'll see you after you're out of prison. But then he's like, well, actually, I'll be like 100 something. So it's like, wow, you've already calculated his prison sentence somehow. Is there a mandatory minimum for twin crimes?
Yeah.
Twin magic starring the Bella twins.
Oh.
But the most important twins are Zach and Cody, and they agree to disagree that, hey, it's, maybe their differences complement each other. It's a chocolate peanut butter situation, something like that. That's maybe more effort than even the movie puts in to try to explain. I said,
your song was better than the movie.
Then we are back on the ship. Bailey and Cody are recounting their favorite parts of spring break, which, again, probably just a week, Cody apparently did not return to his internship at the marine biologist place.
Yeah.
Because he's still banned.
That 1 week, like you said before, that 1 week break, it was very odd.
1 week.
Yeah,
that's all spring break
1
was.
week.
And we see Cody. Sorry, not Cody. Fuck. Zach rolls up.
Zach's an asshole.
The whole thing was that they learned he wanted the car because he's not good at anything.
Car.
So if he had a cool car, he'd maybe be able to find something he was good at. And it's the dumbest thing. And Cody's like, you will find what you're good at. But he rolls up in this car in like the loading area of the cruise ship.
There's a sign that says
no
parking. No parking. And this happened earlier. He did something else.
It's an established character trait that Zach does not abide by any rules.
This happened earlier.
Written on things.
He leaves the car, and we just kind of look at each other. Okay, something's obviously
going
to drop on it.
No parking, and he's like, Zach, please park here.
Yes. So he did this when he was in the lab, going through like a door that said off limits. Do not enter.
And immediately, the unoccupied
car,
gets
slammed, smashed
by a shipping crate.
It just drops it from the sky.
And Mr. Mosby's like, shit, dog, I can't wait for summer break. I don't know what that meant, because it's like, you run a cruise line. I think you're going to be busy during summer.
Well, yeah, where are the kids going to go? The kids
are going to go to hell. Because that's the end of the movie, and just about the end of Sweet Life on Deck.
And we don't get like a freeze frame or anything. We just get a giant fade out of the ship.
The ship that it has very poorly CG elements put over probably the ones that say Disney, and they're made to say Tipton or whatever.
Yeah, the end, the rear end.
It's tough, but because I did look up Ready to Run, which is currently my least favorite DCOM, and Ready to Run is longer than this movie, so already a point against it.
Okay,
but I think.
I don't even remember which one the Ready to Run one was.
Ready to Run is the one that should have been called Horse Sense, where it's about the girl that can talk the horse.
Okay, yes. Yep.
And there's a horse somewhere in the movie, not the main horse, but there's a horse.
He's like a man.
Voiced by Sinbad.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I do remember
the movie's very bad, but I feel like I'd still be more willing to watch that movie again before this movie. Wow. The beginning part of this movie, where it felt probably the most like the TV show, was rough.
Yeah,
the jokes were so really bad. Zach is so annoying. Cody's also pretty annoying.
Well, because I'm so extra smart.
They made me not even like Brenda Song in this movie.
No, they made her like extra dumb.
There's a part where she's talking with Bailey, and they're seeing that basically doesn't matter.
Look at my.
And
you want to count my money?
What should we do? Well, you can count my money, but you can't have it. Get it? She's rich and a bitch.
Yeah, the sweet life of Zach and Cody when they're in the hotel. Like I said, maybe the laugh track helped me. Maybe it was just being younger, but I don't remember them being any similar like at all. It's just I don't know. It just seemed a lot more hokey.
Some of it is like the show was popular, but also neither Cole or Dylan Sprouse, I guess until maybe they grew older, were really breakout stars of any kind. So they had them longer than like a Selena Gomez or a Miley Cyrus, where some of those shows maybe ran for 3 or 4 seasons.
I think
this ran for like total of like 6 or 7 seasons.
Fun fact, I could be wrong. I believe one of these kids was I think these twins were used in the Big Daddy movie, the Adam Sandler movie.
I don't think that is fun at all. I believe you're correct, but I would question whether that is considered a fun fact, because you actually want to know something.
You don't like that movie, but other people do.
When I was in New York City with my brother and his wife, we were walking through some neighborhood, and his wife's like, do you like Big Daddy? And I'm like, what did you say to me? And she's like, that movie, this like pizza shop we walked by was like one that they go to in Big Daddy, and they have like pictures of Adam Sandler, and I'm like, nope, not a fan.
No, so you're not an Adam Sandler fan, but other people are.
Not a fan of pizza places in Big Daddy or children in Big Daddy.
And that's why they would do it, though. Like for like kids, they can only be on screen for a certain amount of time, so they often use twins.
I know. I've seen the rehearsal with Nathan Fields.
They often, they often use twins, so.
They were twins.
And they were twins.
All right, so that was the Sweet Life movie.
Deck's movie.
Yeah, starring Zach and Cody.
Yeah.
If you want to let us know about your feelings about Zach and Cody, the show, the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, the Sweet Life on Deck, or the Sweet Life movie,
or Riverdale, even
this ever expanding cinematic universe of Zach and Cody,
Mr. Mosby,
you can write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com. No, a whole new pop this week, but we will do, of course, the segment never remember.
Oh, fuck.
Hell no, Zach and Cody could not have stopped 9/11.
They're arguing. I don't know. They're arguing the whole time. They're not convincing. They're not.
They'd have Corey in the house on that plane trying to stop him. They'd fuck shit up for Kyle Massey.
They were clever enough to stop this evil man's
There might
plot.
even be a reveal where Zach was working for Al Qaeda.
That I believe.
Actually, the only thing is maybe that the hijackers took over the planes, but Zach and Cody were on it, and they were so annoyed with Zach and Cody fighting that they're like, shit, all right, you know what? You get this plane back.
And they jump out of the plane.
They jump out, no parachutes. They're like, well, it still maybe
but
counts
they've already killed the pilots. So
it maybe still counts for the jihad that we died because of Zach and Cody. And so maybe they saved like one plane. Yeah. But it only one because they'd have to be on the same plane together, annoying the hijackers.
Yes, I agree.
But that would have been like the plane that crashed into like the part of the Pentagon. So I guess that guy's brother and the Tiger Cruise would have been saved, but that'd be about it. That's our podcast. We've been a whole new pod.
I promise you things will get better, baby.
Hopefully. You can find us and do find us at Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us on there. Google, Stitcher, Spotify. Find us on youtube.com/a-whole-new-pod. Like, comment, subscribe there. Follow us on Twitter at AWNPod on Twitter. We gotta go viral somehow. I don't understand how these algorithms work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've gone mad, and Jacob, I've already informed him about this, but for like the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's been this weird algorithmic shit loaded onto my Twitter timeline of just like horny posting that is making absolutely no sense. I don't know if it's just me, because the algorithm's like, hey, you like,
Asians.
No, it's like, hey, you
anime.
like sexy ladies. And I'm like, well, you're not wrong necessarily.
So you must.
I need my thirst trap posting to maybe make a little more sense than some of these definite bots. And I dug a little further, and it seems to be a lot of bot accounts that steal like OnlyFans people's like content and just like repost it to like their own fake OnlyFans page. It's like, to what end? I don't know. But all these accounts I looked at, started seeing them in like July.
Are you going to read some of the titles of the posts?
So all these accounts, when I went further, all of them are from July and August. And probably whenever I'm clicking on these accounts are like, well, you must really like
this.
Digging into the comments, just trying to see people being like, what the fuck is this? I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing other porn accounts posting like even more hardcore pornography.
Nobody's commenting like on them.
Very occasionally.
That's so funny.
They seem to have algorithmically happened upon certain things that, like
trending terms or popular search terms.
The biggest one is Pokemon. So one of the first ones I saw, apparently, trends in the porn world also involve step siblings. So this is just a picture of kind of like an upskirt of this model saying hot Pokemon stepsis.
But it has nothing to do with Pokemon.
No. And it has 30,000 likes. I also have one that is even more algorithmic gibberish of a girl with a large bottom, you might say, that says, "Hey gamers anime, am I hot?" That's definitely... and then the follow-up is video squirt and much more. But the most mind-melting one I think I've come across, and a lot of these are just like, do you like my Pokemon? And it'll be a picture of a girl with like big boobs. Or it'll be like, do you like a braless single gamer mom? And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? This is insane. But this one was more unique. This doesn't fall into some of these other ones will be like, they'll categorize it as like, oh, this is in the topic Pokemon or anime or entertainment. This was in the topic streaming services. And this was, does it bother you that he's older than you? If you dare, I invite you to watch Netflix. I'm divorced anime.
What is the photo for that?
That one I think was more risque, so I actually cropped that one out because these are all saved to my photos, and I don't want to seem like gotta save this to my personal folder. I do that on my computer.
Yeah.
So let me just read that one again to you. Does it bother you that he's older than you? kind of makes sense
Yeah.
with what the picture was. There's no man in it. So that doesn't make sense.
Oh.
If I dare, I invite you to watch Netflix. That's how it falls into the streaming services category. Not related to the sexy photo.
No.
What obviously is I'm divorced anime. So you could try to find some of those. Just if you just type into Twitter, do you like my Pokemon? You'll find some of these, but it might shift the algorithmic eye of Sauron onto you that you won't. And there'll be like a couple of days where it's like, oh, I haven't really seen any of those. And then like an hour later, it's just like I get like 4 in a row. Like, no. It's not safe to browse Twitter at work anymore.
See, it is really weird because they're not even accounts you follow.
No, I mean, that's the thing is there's all sorts of stuff like you might like, and you know, sometimes I do, but sometimes it's like Stranger Things, and like Stranger Things fans are like insane, and sometimes they're posting spoilers, so I was like, I don't want Stranger Things tweets coming my way. But when it's like, you like streaming services, right? You want to hear about HBO Max canceling the Batgirl movie through this merger, but also you want to learn about divorced anime, right? Yes. The secret thing is that I'm very happy with all of these things. So now, after we've had a bit of a laugh, and I'm definitely feeling a little sweaty for various reasons.
Wow,
hot under the collar here.
My.
I think we'll sign out. Next time, we'll be watching Lemonade Mouth. Hopefully, a better movie, in one I think people like more. I've actually seen a lot of people rank that pretty highly in rankings of DCOMs.
Yes.
Lemonade Mouth next time, but I will leave you to redirect back to The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, the top review on Letterboxd for the Sweet Life movie, and something that we read and didn't think fully made sense, but as the movie went on, we were also wondering this, is, does the other twin feel it if one comes?
A recent report from the Union of Maritime Workers found that male employees still make 30% more than their female counterparts.
Way to go, guys! Let's shoot for 40.